Ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
shout out for a second. I need to say, last episode I mentioned about me not getting the vaccine.
Yeah, you said something about lizard people.
Yeah,
and shit like that.
I'm a solid anti-vaxxer. No, so I went to get the vaccine a couple of weeks ago, and I don't have Medicare.
Okay.
And I didn't realise that was a thing. I have like private health cover, like HBF, but because I don't sponge off the government. But I didn't realise that you have to have that to. I did it at a chemist. I went to like Terry Waite's, whatever that chemist is.
White's, I think.
Terry Waite was the guy who got handcuffed to a radiator for like fucking 8 years. Yeah. He was a hostage in the 90s. What the fuck?
And
anyway.
Now he's a chemist.
Now he's a chemist, not vaccinating me. But they couldn't, because they need to like log it properly.
Yes. You have to have a number.
They can do that. So I have got a vaccine date now because I've got all my Medicare stuff sorted, but that took a while.
Yes.
Not an anti-vaxxer, Tait. I just want you to know that, okay?
Okay. For your legion of fans that have just unfollowed you.
Well, the thing is, they all... anyone who knows me will know that even when I get it, I won't post about it. Yeah. Because it's just not fucking interesting.
Yeah, it sucks.
I back it 100%.
Yeah.
I want all the vaccines. I want Moderna. I want AstraZeneca. I want them all because I want to see if I get superpowers from them.
Me too.
But I'm not going to talk publicly about what you should be doing.
Yeah.
But I choose to get vaccinated as soon as they fucking let me.
If there's any anti-vaxxers that listen to this show... Come aboard, fuck it. I need all the fans I can get, so...
Yeah, but get vaccinated first. We don't want you listening with your dirty ears.
Yeah. So that pleasant voice that you had cut me off is David Hughes.
Oh, yeah. Hi.
And this is episode 40 of the Tait Talks podcast. We're wrapping up. We've done now 2 podcasts, and this is the 3rd one. The first episode we did was about your childhood, getting into comedy, being a homeless man... something else which I can't
remember either.
Yeah, that stuff.
Yeah. And then we just talked about what travel.
Travel was the last one, and then you actually starting your travel blogs and what has progressed into literally your career now as a professional comedy writer. Just off the bat, which shows or have you worked on?
So I've done like a couple of episodes on Have I Got News For You, which is like a panel show in the UK.
Yeah.
I'm recurring on Mock the Week. I'm a regular on Mock the Week. I write on that pretty much every episode. For like lots of different comedians.
I want to talk about what that actually entails.
Yeah, but I can't mention the actual comedians.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
And then what else? Trailer Park Boys, which is a newish one for me. That's pretty much it. I have my own scripts as well, like with other people and companies that we're working on that all just get fucking crushed pretty quickly. But
oh, really?
Well, no. I mean, we have one at the moment that was been optioned, but it runs out in January, so we get it back. And optioned
what does that mean?
So it's basically like a production company. If they option a script, it's like they put a deposit on it. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like they give you some money, and it's like you can't take it anywhere else. So it's like a legally binding thing. So if the option is for, let's say, a year, that production company has a year to make it happen, or at least to go, well, they can't do anything with it for a year, so we own it for now. And it might be because they've got something else in the pipeline as well. Like that? And they go like, well, let's just keep this for now.
But they'll pay you and potentially never do anything with it until their product could be ready. I mean,
that's the cynic in me saying that. Like, I don't know that for a fact, but what I do know for a fact is that currently, we had I won't name the companies because I can't really do that, but we
Miramax.
If only. I wouldn't care if the option expired on that. They've already paid millions probably. So we got this script optioned. Then their job is to make it happen. So they had a year and a half to make it happen. That was how long the option was for. So they took it to a bunch of different co-producers, and they found a co-production company that would essentially give us all of the money that we needed, which was $4 million US, to then spend on production and everyone else. And then it got a little complicated where, actually, even with 4 million, I think I'm already too specific. Then it got a little complicated.
$47 billion. Yeah. I gotcha.
It got complicated when they asked for more money from the co-producers because they wanted a bigger cut for us basically, and for them, like they wanted a bigger percentage. And the co-production company said no. So then they just started arguing amongst themselves, and then you're fucked. Because, and it's even shitter when you've got, producers saying like, oh, but we're doing it because we want more money. It's like, you're talking to people who just want to create something. They don't really give a fuck about money.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
obviously,
he does. Give him money if
well,
you're listening.
You know, everyone wants to be able to pay their bills doing something that they enjoy doing.
Yeah,
But like, I'm not
sucking
looking to be a
dicks.
millionaire. I'll suck dick. I mean, but you know what I mean? Though it's not like that's not the. I think if that's the thing that you're chasing, you're fucked anyway. If
True.
everything you do is because like, oh, I need to be a millionaire, then I just think you're fucked.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that as an attack on anyone. I know some people are just geared towards making money and they do it and they're very successful and well done to you. I just mean, if like, let's say stand up, for example, like we know stand up comedians that do it and, you know, they're chasing maybe paid spots or whatever.
Yeah.
I think if that's your goal, I don't think you're going to be very good at stand up comedy.
Yeah.
I think it's one thing to chase like the better rooms and to, you know, get, you know, headline spots and stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it because money's your drive, I don't think that's a good. Just personally, I know it wouldn't work for me if my thing was like, oh, I need this because I need to make money from it.
Yeah.
I think the thing that I'm doing would suffer.
Yes. Because you'd probably go left when you should go right.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, well, we'll give you a headline spot and you'll get 20 minutes where we're not going to pay you. And it's like, well, we'll give you $20 and you can do 5 minutes. And you're like,
Yeah.
it's probably more beneficial I do 20.
Exactly.
Yeah. Type stuff. All right. So we got the shows that you have written for. Quicker, I just wanted to address, you know, when you say you've written for a comedian, how does that actually work?
Well, so these panel shows typically have just, you know, there'll be like a host and then you've got maybe 3 or 4 panelists on each one.
Yeah.
And we get all the material. The producers give us the material quite sort of close to filming. So Mock the Week we film on Tuesday, and I get the first lot of material sent to me on the Friday.
Yeah.
So I just have like the weekend to do the bulk of it, and then the stuff that's a little bit more time sensitive, like if something big happens in the news or whatever that we need to, you know, address or make fun of, talk about, that's going to come through, you know, the day of filming.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys are like touring comics or they're working on a fucking million other things. So
they just don't have time.
They just don't have the time. It's not that... The reason that I don't name people is mostly because I know that if I do, you'll suddenly start thinking that this person doesn't write any of their own shit, or every time they go on a show. That's not the case. Like other shows that they do, other panel shows that they do, they might just do it themselves. And other points in the year or whatever, they might do it themselves too. But the people that I write for religiously, I think is because one, it's like tried and tested. Like I can write in their voice because I've been doing it for a long time. Because you can't just like... It's one thing getting the material and writing jokes on that material, but I have to write it in a way that I know that this person, that suits their style and their voice. Otherwise, again, you will watch that show, you will know that comedian and go, he doesn't usually talk like this. That's not usually the angle that he takes on these things.
Yeah.
So I would say that most of it is down to just them being too busy to be able to dedicate as much time as you need to. Because you've got to remember as well, it's national TV, and they film those shows for like 3.5 hours, and then it gets cut down to like 26 minutes. Oh. So it has to be fucking tight. Like it has to be good. You know? They're putting their best out there. I think as well, a lot of people assume that those comedians go on there and just do their thing.
I assume that, man. You fucking...
But you have to...
Santa's not real, fucking... You've wrecked my day.
But you got to really think about, like, if you're the producer of that show, what a gamble it would be. Doesn't matter how funny those people are. Like, what a gamble it is and what a risk it is too. Because pretty much everything has to be okayed first.
It has to be TV.
It has to be TV okay.
Yeah.
You know, like when somebody does, you know, like say Letterman or something, like especially one of the comedians that are doing like their monologues. Like, do not think for 1 second that they're allowed to just stand up there and deliver this monologue and nobody has seen it. Like, they're just going to let you say whatever. It's not fucking happening. Yeah, exactly.
Do you reckon that's...
I don't know. Maybe because it is him. You know, do you know what I mean? Like, who knows? But I would say I know that for the stuff that I do, like, the producers need to make sure that, one, it's okay, but two, it's okay for that show.
Yes.
Like, you know, if you're going to go on there and use it as maybe like a, you know, to put your political stances across and stuff like that, like, they don't want to hear that. So that's not going to get okayed. How
often does things get knocked back that you write? Like, I've always been curious to be like, all right, you've written X amount of stuff that they want. Do they take 10% of it? Do they take
it? Really depends. The more that I write for someone, whether it's a company or a TV show or whatever, I know that, like, so say for example, when Trailer Park Boys first approached me, they said, are you a fan of the show? And I said, absolutely, I love it. And I'd never seen it. But I knew that this was a great
Is this the
opportunity.
part where I'm supposed to edit it out?
No, we can go for it. I knew that this was a great opportunity, and I knew that there was, that show was really popular, and it was also one that I had been meaning to watch. But I just thought, I'll just catch up on it over the weekend.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize there's fucking like 8 seasons of the fucking thing.
True.
There's like 4 movies. There's the animated series, which were far more pertinent for me to watch, but I still needed to watch everything in like chronological order.
Yeah. So you're animated, are you?
Yeah, so I like animated and comic books. So I had to watch all to get the characters. I had to understand the characters like fully. But
Bubbles and
and you really have to know how he is going to speak and how he interacts with people and like the kind of even like the thought process.
Yeah.
And you start doing it. Like you start just making notes on things in a Bubbles voice, and that's not even for the script ideas or anything like that. You just do it because it's a good exercise. So I would just sit around my house and just literally talk to myself, or out loud or whatever, in a way that I think Bubbles might have done it, or Julian might have done it, or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was just the way that I did it. But my point being that the more time you spend in that voice, the easier it is the more likely they are to go, yeah, we'll take that, we'll take that, we'll take that. If I'm writing for like the dad and I start talking about like sex references or drug references or death references, things that I know that they avoid, obviously all of it's getting knocked back.
Yeah.
I know that I can't write that way for them because that's not their voice.
Yeah.
So it's just about knowing what you're doing, really.
Do things ever get knocked back that you thought were okay?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's with the trailer park stuff. Some of the scripts that I did, I was like, like one in particular. I wrote one. I pitched you don't write the whole thing. You just pitch the idea, and I was like, this is fucking gold. And they said no to it, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm missing the mark here altogether. This is when I was like halfway through, not more than halfway through my research of watching the show. Mm-hmm. And then I get to an episode where, because I was so entrenched and I was so like just absorbed in what the characters were like I pretty much had pitched an idea that they'd already done anyway. And I was like, oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes me feel a bit better. But then, sometimes you do just miss the mark because you just think something's funny, and it isn't. You're a stand-up. You've done it before, surely, where you just gone, this is funny. This has got fucking legs.
Yeah.
And then you try it.
I'm like rape, and they're like,
it's only funny to you.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like there'll always be something that just tickles you.
Yes.
And then you go and put it to someone else, and they're like, we'll try again.
Was that a learning curve when you first started doing it?
Stand up or
for writing for certain things, and it gets knocked back, and you're like, oh, okay, all right, like.
I mean, it's also, I think if you've got like a massive ego, you're probably going to struggle with that stuff because some of it's budget as well. Like if my contract is for like say 20 jokes, and I always over deliver. That's my thing. I always over deliver, and I do it early. Because if they want 20, they usually get like 30 to 35, and if the deadline is for
should you be giving out all your secrets?
No, it's a good one to have.
Okay,
I'll give away all my secrets. If the deadline's for like Monday night, I make sure I do it like before the weekend.
Yeah,
because that way they're getting mine first, and hopefully it's good quality.
Okay.
They're getting a lot of it. They're more likely to accept more of it.
Yeah.
That's where my thinking is, and it's served me well so far. So but you just realistically have to know that everyone has a budget, especially when you're writing for other companies. They have a budget. They have other writers, whether they're staff writers or freelancers or whatever, and they're going to take stuff from other people's perspectives and stuff as well. So they don't just want to write like you the whole time. Otherwise, they'd give you the keys to the fucking website or the keys to the account. Yeah. So some stuff just gets knocked back because it's gonna, and I just bank it and go, I'll use this for me maybe.
Yeah. Okay. That we were talking about writing, like in that. The way how you're saying I send 35 jokes or whatever it is. Yeah. Is that like what capacity? What are you actually writing for when you're talking about that? Because is that for the person, like you're writing for Bubbles or whatever it is, or is that for something else? It's
pretty much is in like that rule essentially. It's for most things.
Yeah, like that's for most things. What I'm trying to figure out is like, what do you when you're saying I'm writing for this character? Yeah. What do you actually like? Are they going like today's episode is about and then we want some dialogue.
So with Trailer Park Boys, I pitch the whole episode idea.
Ah, okay. So you're...
Yeah, so I'm not writing for a character, but I do have to make sure that I nail all of their dialogue. Like, everything has to be completely as that character would say. Because you got to remember, these shows have got die-hard fans that have been with it for like 20 years. If I start making, Ricky talk like, Bubbles or whatever, they're just going to be like, well, that's fucked. What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And also, they've never outsourced before as well, so it's even more important that you really fucking nail it. But when I say like writing for comedians or like that's...
I'm just curious to see what you actually... Like, so I get that now that you're writing an actual episode.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
So you have, there's a blank slate and you're going like, this is what I want to do, or is there like prompts?
No, there'll be there's never any prompts. Not for that stuff. Yeah. No, it will just be like, if you just have to have a decent original idea, a storyline. Yeah. One of the ones that I did that should come out, I think, soon is I put them all back as children.
Okay.
And I had somebody come to visit Bubbles, and they end up stealing his bubble machine and his cats because they were just an arse, basically. But they pretended that they were like a family. I think it was like a family friend or an old family friend. They were asking about his parents or whatever. And anyway, they chase the guy gets in his car. He's taking the bubble machine and the cats, and they chase him. And then like Kid Julian and Kid Ricky and Kid Bubbles all get in. I think Ricky's grandma's car.
Yeah.
No, Julian's grandma's car. That's part of the actual story anyway. That. If you go back to earlier episodes, they used to take his car or her car. So they take the car and then they chase after him, and he drives off a bridge into like the water. And then the bubble machine and the cats and everyone are still in the car, obviously. But this guy is like literally dying. And they're like, do something. Julian takes his shirt off, hands his drink to him, and dives in and saves the bubble machine.
Yeah, okay.
That being the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just has to be something that they obviously haven't done before, but something that everyone can see all of those characters doing.
Yeah. Okay.
But as far as like, with like the panel shows, for example, that's just very specific material that we get, whether it's say like a picture caption round or it's a
I'm with you. Okay.
Like we need to write jokes about Boris Johnson and this particular incident or thing that happened. And then I don't know if you've ever seen the show. I'm guessing not. But in Mock the Week they even have like a stand-up round.
Is it Darren O'Brien?
Darren O'Brien, yeah.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so that stand-up thing's not on the spot?
I don't write that stuff.
Okay.
I don't write that stuff.
Does anyone write that? Are you allowed to say that?
No, I actually think that from what I've seen, because the people that I write for, I've never seen any of them do that round because there's only ever 2 contestants from each panel, and I think they're usually the newer ones.
Yeah.
But from what I have seen, I think most of them just do their material that they use on stage anyway, and they just bring that because they know what the topic's going to be as well. These are secrets I may not should give out, but like there's a random round, right?
Yeah.
Where, again, those of you who've seen the show, it's called Scenes We'd Like to See.
Yeah.
And it will randomly be, like lines you wouldn't hear in an action movie, for example.
Yes.
And then everyone will take turns coming into the middle to the microphone and delivering this line that you wouldn't otherwise hear in an action movie hero movie. And they're all, I'm sent that's going to be the thing. They already told me that, so I have to write jokes around that. So I'll write like 20, 30 jokes, whatever, give them to my comedian, and he will deliver them on the night. So it's very very specific. Get to pick which jokes, or I mean, he'll just decide as he's going, that one's funny, I'm not doing that one, But it's funny, some weeks like I'll watch the show and the edits, like,
are you always happy when you see a good one, like a good response from the audience?
Yeah, but sometimes like there was one instance where I exhausted myself, and I can say this. So I wrote for 2 people on the same show at the same time, but different panels.
Yeah. Which
I will never do again because it was very, very, very difficult because you have to write like somewhere between 100 and 150 jokes, I would say, for one person, and then the same for another person, but obviously in different voices, but on the same fucking material. Some of it is so boring. Like, for example, picture caption stuff is fucking boring to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of the things that I have to do, but I'm like, I fucking hate doing this shit. So I had to write, a ton of jokes for like each person. It's bad enough to have to do it for one. But watching that show back, where I was like 70% of this whole fucking show is me. That was lovely. That was I guess I do have an ego actually, but that was very much a like, woohoo. But yeah, sometimes the edits can be a bit brutal too, and you watch it back and you go like, oh, we didn't make much of a cut this week.
Yeah, okay.
And it's it's just because that person and my stuff wasn't as good as the rest of the people on the show that week, or they just didn't use it.
Do you know the other writers on these shows?
No.
Never see them.
No. So to clarify as well, right? The show itself likely has a team of writers. Not likely, it does. It will have a team of writers that will come up with the structure of the show and the rounds of the show and everything else. The comedians are paying us separately. We're like separate entities from the show. I'm not employed by the show. I'm being employed by the comedian to write on the show. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So let's say you're on, right?
Why you reckon my day like this? Oh, they're all geniuses.
Hey, some of them might be, maybe, but I just...
As you said before, though, and I don't know, did we say in this episode that you had to reiterate that these comics are, like, they're only doing it for this certain thing, and they're just... 99% of the time it's them doing, the stand-up is all theirs, and obviously... Oh,
100%. Like, the people that I write for especially, I know that no one writes their stand-up for them. I know that for a fact, because... 2 of them I asked. But I know that, and I also know that a lot of the other stuff that they do, even though like corporates and stuff like that, because that's a thing for them. They do that.
Is it common that actually some comedians would get people to write for their stand-up?
Yes, but not in my experience.
Yeah.
Like I know that somebody told me recently of a famous comedian that has a bunch of writers do all of his stuff. Yeah,
are you surprised?
Not given that this particular comedian, I wasn't that surprised, but like I just thought like, oh, okay, maybe that is a bit more of a common thing than I thought it was.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't know. This is a very seasoned comic as well, so maybe he's just something. He maybe just has like a a group of writers that work on other shows or whatever for him, and they just know that. They know his voice really, really well, so that they can, they can all kind of like workshop that stuff together. I suppose it's just a much bigger version or a much bigger scale of like, if I was to come to you with a bit and then you help me work it out and get it better and get it tighter, and then I take it to stage. Well, we're not saying that you write for me necessarily, but I did workshop it with you.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I guess that's kind of how I look at it. Yeah. With that stuff, but I don't do it. I haven't written any comedians stand up for them.
It'd be nice if you did, and they were like a big shot.
Yeah, let's do that next.
Like, yeah. I mean, you started doing stand up yourself, so
yeah,
I suppose
that'll do for now.
Yeah, I mean, you want to start writing me some jokes?
Sure.
Just real bottom of the barrel just shit. You're like, I wonder if
knock.
I wonder if this idiot will say this on stage. What do we got? Well, I mean, you've just knocked out most of my questions in one fucking...
Oh, sorry.
Jesus Christ.
Was it mostly about the writing for people?
It was mainly about vaccines and...
Completely against them.
But so you're saying you're doing your own shows and stuff. Like, sorry, you got a few scripts of your own.
Yeah.
How do you go about actually writing a script, or how did you learn how to write
a script? Most of this happened through social media, like everything has for me. I just realized that there was a lot of very nice people that were actors that were following me.
Okay.
So I asked if I could... there was one guy in particular, Matt Stocco, who was in... he's been in a bunch of shit, but what was the thing that I liked him in? What was that show called? Misfits. He was in Misfits, right?
Which one's that? Which guy, sorry?
Matt Stocco. He plays a handsome barman.
Handsome barman in Misfits. Yeah. No, I can't remember. No.
So did you remember the show though?
I do remember. Actually, Misfits is in like the UK.
Yeah, the UK one where they have superpowers. Yeah. So he's the handsome barman who I think he ends up like fucking a turtle. Or do you remember that? Do you remember that one? That might be season 2. You know how they switched the cast out, right?
Yeah, well, like they switched the Irish fella that left. Yeah,
who was like the great. He was brilliant.
He was amazing.
And Rudy. Oh,
and Rudy is
he's so good. Joseph Gilgan. So when they did that switch, Matt stayed. He stayed in the show, but I had always been talking to him, right? We've been talking for like a year or so.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I want to start writing my own scripts and stuff, but I didn't even know what they look like.
Yeah,
Like, And he sent me a bunch of like old Misfits scripts, just so I could see how they're formatted. And
that's exactly what I'm interested in.
But what I also didn't realize is that once I read them, and I thought like, oh, okay, well, this is a very good starting point. And then I got some more because I have friends who are actors that had scripts that they've done, like Bruce McKinnon sent me a bunch of his, and Matt Horn sent me a bunch. So I knew what they looked like. But I also I then got Write a Duet, which is a really good script writing program. That so if you and I were writing a script together, we can edit it like at the same time. We just you know what I mean? Like we just log into the same thing. Yeah. A bit like Google Docs, actually. It's just a hyped up version of that. But the point is that it structures everything the way it should be. So it's all formatted perfectly. Yeah. So
what was that called again?
Write a Duet. But Final Draft does it and all the rest of them. But Write a Duet's really good because it's not that expensive either. It's I find it to be very user friendly, but it's also my monthly subscription is like $10 or something. Yeah. Whereas Final Draft, which is one of the more sort of prestigious ones and one of the ones that people use a lot, is like I'll say it's like $500 or something for the app. It's quite expensive.
Oh really?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, just everything's formatted for you. So that was useful too, because then you know that everything is looking the way it's meant to, because it's a universal like template basically. Yes. Yeah. You don't send something off and people be like, why is this speech over here when it should be in this column?
Yeah. So they know exactly to go.
Yeah. So I did that, and then I just started writing scripts for things that I knew already existed because I wanted to do that first. That probably sounds like a pointless exercise. It's just I can get a bit obsessed with making things as perfect as I want them. So I would, an episode of a TV show that I would just watch, I would then script it myself, just to see, how much of it was sort of like fat as well. Like, what, is this much stage direction needed, or am I just putting that in because I've seen it? Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, 'cause there's some parts of it where direction is really not that sort of important at this point. Yeah, and they're going to do that in production anyway. So you don't need to be like overly specific, and it tends to be a thing that we do as writers. We just fucking babble and babble and babble. I'm doing it now on your show, Tarantino, for fuck's sake. Fucking shit. Yeah. Right. So I did that for a bit, and then I just I had ideas, and I just started scripting those.
But where do you go from I have an idea, I've written a script, to who am I giving it to?
Well, most production companies won't accept things that are unsolicited. They won't just. Unless you have an agent.
Is it literary?
Yeah, you need a lit agent, which I have one, but he's not good. I don't give a fuck if he listens to this. I don't give a shit.
Pick up your game, Mr. fucking Magoo, whatever your name is.
Colin, you wanker. No, he.
Do you have a timestamp on that one?
Don't give a fuck. Nah, I don't care. He doesn't really get me anything anyway. That's my point. I got an agent when I got him. I got an agent for the sake of getting an agent. That was basically what it was. I just needed to have one because it just sort of bumps you up a little bit in that world anyway. But he doesn't really do much for me. He knows that anyway. But because because I had collaborated with people who do have a name, that was basically my in from there. Okay. When I did, so I said I went to do the Soho Comedy Festival. Yes. So I wrote that with Matt Horn, who already has a name in the industry. We had Ellie White in it, and Katie Wicks, and a bunch of other like English actors and stuff. Who not only is it a networking thing where they meet you and they'll like you hopefully, and then will help you or whatever. It's more that they all agree once they read the script. They all agreed to do the table read for free. Yeah. Knowing that obviously if it takes off and if it goes anywhere that they would get the job, but they all agreed to do it for free because they loved it so much. So because they loved it so much, they're more susceptible to read anything else that I would write. And then when I, like Ellie did a sketch show with Natasha Dimitri, the girl from What We Do in the Shadows, I think it's called, and bunch of other stuff, and Stathless Flats. You seen Stathless Flats? No. Ellie's in that as well. But anyway, she when they started doing their sketch show, I was one of the first people they hit up to write on that because again they were familiar with what I'd done before. So I mean, it's so much of it was luck. Like I'm not going to say that it's luck, but I also put that like 10-year fucking grind in at social media so that people did know who I was by the time I needed them to. Yeah. Well, actually, that's not a fair thing to say. I needed them to forever. But like, by the time they noticed and the right people had seen what I was doing, then I could start using it to my advantage. It's not like I was pestering people, because I don't really believe in doing that. But when, you know, like when Matt found me, he was just like, you know, we should do something together. I don't know what yet, but we should do something together.
Yeah.
And because he and James Corden had a sketch show as well, and I liked the whole brevity of Twitter and, you know, that sort of like short form stuff, I was like leaning towards doing that.
Yeah.
And he was the one who steered me into sitcoms. He was like, no, we should do a sitcom, because it's very hard to get a sketch show made, because they're very expensive. And they're sort of out now anyway, you know, no one's really making them.
True.
But it was probably the whole Twitter verse that opened those doors for me, because otherwise you can't, like I said, like people don't want unsolicited scripts from people like me who don't have a name.
Yeah. So let's say I'm writing a script, which I'm not, but let's say I'm writing one. What course of action would you go for an absolute nobody to take if their scripts or whatever it is was going to be taken seriously? Like, what would you say? Get management?
I would say like the first thing to do would be to just approach as many different agents as you can, but not necessarily with a full script. Like one thing that I've learned is that like writing a full script is kind of pointless. No one wants to see it. People want what's called a treatment, which is a document that explains what you want to do within that show. And then they'll want maybe sample scenes and stuff like that. And then eventually that will lead to a pilot script. But that's the thing that I would approach with agents, is like a sample, and samples of your other work as well. So the more you've had sort of published, whether it be officially or unofficially or whatever, it's just like, this is what I do and this is what I can do and this is where my passion is and stuff. So somebody may pick you up, somebody may not. It is quite difficult. Like I had a meeting with a few agents when I went back to London, but one in particular who I will name, she's lovely, but her name's Vivian Claw. She's quite a big agent, and she told me that if I wanted to, I told her at the time I wanted to write on panel shows, and I wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
But that was one of my goals. One, because I knew the money was good, and I knew that it would be a fun thing to do, and I thought I would be quite good at it. And she said, "Oh, it's very difficult because everyone has their own writers. It's a very small circle, hard to sort of penetrate." She went, "Even if I did represent you, it would still be very difficult for me to get you in with these people. You'd need to be in the UK because you can't really do that stuff remotely. You all have to be in the same room together." And there was something else, I can't remember. And anyway, it was all nonsense, because about 3 months later, I was writing on Mock the Week for the first time. Yeah. So like, well, you're a dinosaur is what that was. Yeah, you're an old lady who hopefully...
But you're lovely.
You're
absolutely lovely.
But she just had the wrong sort of... I think she was looking at things in the wrong way. Like social media is way bigger than any of us... Well, we all know now, but I think there's still a generation of people that don't realize how powerful it is. Yeah. There are people getting TV shows made, commissioned, just off the back of like what they do on YouTube or TikTok, or you know what I mean? Like I don't think we necessarily need agents that much anymore. Yeah. I don't really think we need production companies that much either. Like I think the like your friends that have made their show, like that lo-fi kind of approach and doing it all yourself, getting that final finished product out there, I think is probably the new pitching a script to a studio. That's probably the best way to go about it. You put it on social media, it gets all this attention and attraction, and before you know it, someone's offering to help you make the rest of it anyway. Yeah.
So a perfect example would be those guys. Yeah. So they've made Bonk City Detectives. Yeah. They've put it out. They've got money through Kickstarter, I think it is.
Yeah, you said like what, 10 grand they got?
Yeah, I think originally it was either 3 or 6 grand, and they ended up getting 10. Yeah. So, do you sit back and wait, or what's the avenue?
That's the thing. Like, I honestly don't know, because I can say to you that, you know, I haven't done the route that your friends have gone. I haven't done that because I don't make stuff. I write stuff. Yeah. So up until this point, typically I've done that traditional route of going through a production company, like with a script that gets pitched by an agent, whether it's my agent or someone else's. In this case, it was Matt Horn's. Yeah. And then, you know, we've done it that way, but it hasn't gotten us anywhere yet. Like the furthest we have right now is with this script, which has some really big names attached to it. Has the funding for like 4 million was put on the table before they started arguing amongst themselves about more money. Yeah. But that show could have gotten made had it not have been for those fuckers. So now they will be released from it. We'll get it back, and it will be our job then to take the script and find someone else to make it.
Yeah.
Which hopefully we can just go to the co-producers and just go, okay, can we do it now? Because they're not legally attached to it anymore.
Yeah. So when it is like that, like you're trying to sell the script or get the TV show made, do you have do they just read it and all the material and is there, or do you have to do a pitch?
Well, so, and again, things have changed, but when we did this one, we had a pilot script, which I know that just completely contradicts what I just said about not writing a whole script. But I mean, we did one. We also wrote most of the next episode too. We sort of did that for us because we wanted the momentum, because the problem that we have now is that if it gets made, we then have to go back and get right back into the swing of this thing that we haven't touched for like over a year now. But yeah, we had the script, we had the treatment, and we had all the casting suggestions and everything else. And then, sorry, I'm waffling. What was the initial question here?
Is there a pitch?
Oh yeah. So, and then when we pitched it, that was the thing that gets everyone's attention. Basically, is the treatment, the series overview, like where you see it going. Everyone wants to know that it can lead into a second or third or whatever. And then we were also able to, and this is purely because of the contacts of people like Matthew Horn, we were able to attach some pretty big names, including like Whoopi Goldberg. Like she was one of the lead candidates for one of the roles.
Yeah.
So when the route that we were going, if a production company takes that on and then decides to make it, and then they want to sell it to Netflix later on, like even if it's just selling that pilot to Netflix later on, like the chances are just having Whoopi Goldberg's name on the script will make them go like, oh yeah, okay, well yeah, because we know people will watch it because she's a draw.
Yeah.
So much of it is like just having the right contacts and the right people in your corner, and I only have them because of the people that I've managed to get through.
Yeah.
Fucking about on Twitter for years.
Yeah. Would you? So you realistically, I think we spoke about this another time, but you said that there is kind of the way to do it now is to put it out for free.
I think so.
Make your product.
Yeah, I really think so. I really think so. Like, you have things like TikTok at the moment, which is more consumed than YouTube in many parts of the world.
Really?
And all people are doing is just getting in front of the camera, getting comfortable in front of their camera, and just talking shit. Some of it is brilliant. Some of it is dog shit.
Yeah.
But that's the same with everything. There's so much dog shit. Like, the small percentage of everything is good.
Yes.
And the stuff that you're seeing on TikTok, like, it already has led to things for people. People are getting, branded deals and stuff like that. I work with a guy here called Sev, who has his own TikTok of like about 650,000 followers now. I think he's got.
Yeah.
And he gets lots of branded deals coming his way. Like, we have the Red Rooster thing that we've been doing. McDonald's are now like one that we're talking to too, and these are all things that have come off the back of him making silly videos on TikTok where he's just completely himself to his fucking phone, and now it makes him hundreds of thousands of dollars every year.
Really?
More actually, but I mean, these branded content, and he pays me a retainer now to write jokes for him, and like he'll come to me with like, okay, so I have to write, I have to make like say 6 video series for this company, but I need to make them funny for me. So that's where I come in.
You do your magic.
And do the magic. But I mean that's basically the process, like boiled down into what we were doing before with script writing and stuff like that. He's just found a different way of doing it in a new time where, like, honestly, I think agents and stuff like that are just going to get fucking phased out. It's certainly like literary agents the way that they are, like typically, because who really wants to give up 10% of their money because that person gets you the job?
Yeah.
And this is my point with my agent, and we've had this conversation, he and I. He doesn't get me the work, so I don't cut him in 10%. Why would I?
Yeah, true.
I'm not going to give you 10% just because I'm doing this job now for Red Rooster. You didn't get it for me.
Yeah. Just give him fucking...
Let's give him a bit of chicken.
Yeah, it's fucking one of those deep fried fucking pineapple rings.
I'm not game to try those. Fuck that.
I've never had one myself, but I mean, it
looks disgusting.
It's in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, no, it looks
just
fucking horrible.
Pure horribleness. I think you have answered everything in our 3-part fucking documentary series.
Wicked.
Slagged off a lot of people, anti-vax.
A lot? Did I slag off a lot of people?
No, just not many, to be honest.
Okay, good.
No, that's it. I think we're done. Thank you so much for coming out.
Pleasure. It's been wonderful.
It's been a while in the making. I've enjoyed this. Hopefully, people have picked up some hints, especially in the writing.
I hope so. I know I wasn't very helpful with that final process of like getting stuff in front of people. It's just I'm learning that myself.
Yeah,
like
it sounds like literally until you do it, you got to see what happens with this next.
Yeah, I think so.
I think the writing part is a big one though. I think so. I've always thought about doing writing and stuff like that, but just not knowing how to write it in that format or what do I have to write down or.
Oh, you mean like actually like we were talking about how the script
like
actually
that fucking
looks?
writer duet,
yeah,
stuff like that. Because I've always wanted to like try and write something, like the idea of something, and be like, here's the idea. Can you buy this? Like, is that a thing? Do you know?
That's essentially what a treatment is.
Okay.
A treatment is basically you explaining what would happen in the, just an overview of your whole idea of what you want the first episode and the series to look like and the characters and what they sort of mean to each other and that kind of thing. Sorry?
Mine would be like a movie.
Yeah.
Like just sell
I've never written a script for that.
Or a movie. Yeah. And then the best thing would be to like give it to Netflix and be like, you do whatever you want to do with it, but give Tait money.
Well, they would want you to script it though.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean,
so they would want all that shit.
Actually, I shouldn't say that because I don't know if that's true or not. But I would. The process that we have is that like, here's our idea. Do you want it? Oh, you do want it? Okay. Well, now we're going to script it because it's our idea. We want to write it.
Yes, because you want to make that.
Yeah.
I just want to see my ideas for movies made because
I bet you would want to write it. You would want to write it. I'm sure you would. No.
No, I'm more of a like. Give them the tip and just be like, you do the rest.
Yeah.
You do the rest. Anyway, we're waffling now. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Episode 40, I believe
a lot
this
of fun.
was.
Yeah, 40.
I have no idea who's on for the next one, but this is about a month's worth of podcast now. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
Did you want to plug anything? You've got your social medias.
Yeah, I'm just David Hughes everywhere.
David Hughes.
I say everywhere, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok is not worth following me. I'm just there to watch what the companies are doing that I'm working with.
And did you have any, like, how would someone read your blog book thing? Like, is it around anymore?
Amazon and Google and that sort of stuff. Or just honestly, just message me. I'll send you them.
Oh, okay.
You can just have them for free. I don't give a fuck anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll send you PDFs or whatever. Just email me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just another one if someone wanted to figure out how to write a blog or something that they're enjoying, just to get what it looks like. But I mean, you could fucking Google that. But I'm curious to actually just read where it all started.
I'll send you the first travel one. I think it's probably like something that you'd enjoy, given that you've traveled a lot.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah. All right, see you next week, motherfuckers. We're done.
So, yeah, bye.
Thank you.